Well, surprise. You know, I always have to do this because Facebook likes to shadow ban me. So I have to update my status so that this is no longer private. So I've had the longest day ever. I was sitting here for 3 hours testifying in the House. We don't care about anything having to do with America or freedom, and we're going to do what we want. So it's been exhausting. So a couple weeks ago, I started doing these things that need to be said segments, revolving clips from YouTube so that we could all get a little bit, uncomfortable and saying what needs to be said. So I pulled up, let's see, I go through and I watch these shorts and I saved them because they are truth and they need to be said. So let's see. First, okay, we're going to go with Morgan Freeman. I don't know if you've probably seen this.
Black History Month you find
ridiculous.
why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? No,
Well,
come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
No, all right. I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman.
And every time that I have to speak and point out somebody's color, I always say, and I hate the fact, because I was not raised that way, I would love for Morgan Freeman to come and speak to Jennifer McClellan, Louise Lucas, Mamie Locke, and have them pop off at Morgan Freeman. Dare you? So that was the first one, is because hearing Morgan Freeman, like the voice of God, okay, one of the most, like, Shawshank Redemption, one of the most, like, Stand and Deliver, like one of the most respected actors of all times. I won't even bring up Denzel Washington, but stop calling me black. Stop calling me white. We're humans, and that's how you end racism. Voila! Okay, so that's Morgan Freeman. And then to follow up after Morgan Freeman, we're going to bring up good old Barack. And this is a video from 2020. And it's one of those things, like, when people show you and tell you who they are, you really should pay attention. And this is one of those instances.
Understand, it's not necessary for people to believe this information in order to weaken democratic institutions. You just have to flood a country's public square with enough raw sewage. You just have to raise enough questions, spread enough dirt, plant enough conspiracy theorizing. Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right. That citizens no longer know what to believe.
What? Yes.
Once they lose trust in their leaders, in mainstream media, in political institutions, in each other.
And I said this earlier today in a live, is that if you have not read Lenin, like as in Vladimir Lenin, the Bolsheviks, his plot to overthrow Western government, like for global domination, is, he just gave you like 5 of them. And this was from like 1917.
In the possibility of truth, the game's won.
Oh, okay. I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
I have a red sweatshirt. I have a red vest. I'm here to help. Sorry. But it's stuff. Like, it's conspiracy theorizing. Like, what? Yeah. Yeah. And while we're on the Barack, let's just finish. Let's just keep. Okay. This is going to be a rare 2008 video. Let's listen to Barack.
I would just like to know what you can say to reassure us that this election will not be rigged or stolen.
Well,
a few moments later.
Nate.
so I want to be honest. It's not as if it's just Republicans who have monkeyed around with elections in the past. Sometimes Democrats have too. You know, whenever people are in power, they have this tendency to try to, tilt things in their direction. Republicans who have monkeyed around with elections in the past. Sometimes Democrats have too.
And who can say?
And just so you guys know, that's John Talks, and let's see who is. I'll try to tell you guys.
Let me just start out by making a point that too many.
As these come up, so we got Barack. This is not Trump forever. I literally learned how to what I call IDGAF.
Hi, Chuck.
Which you know what IDGAF syndrome stands. I learned it from this man. And this is totally something that I would do. And this was this was a couple days ago. This was
Democrats being fake friends isn't really something to be surprised about.
Hi, Chuck. He used to love me when I was a Democrat, you know. And a special hello to all of you in this room who have known and loved me for many, many years. It's true. The politicians. They've had me to their homes. They've introduced me to their children. They've asked for my endorsement, and they always wanted my money, and even called me really a dear, dear friend. But then suddenly decided when I ran for president as a Republican that I've always been a no good, rotten, disgusting scoundrel. And they totally forgot about me. But that's okay.
Love him. I mean, bravo. 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 I deal with it every day. Everything that you've known about me for 30 years, 20 years, but all of a sudden you disagree with me on one thing and I'm the most horrendous person in the world. You forget every single thing you've ever known about me. What? That's another one. Let us see here. Where should we go next? Let's go to Candace. This one's pretty powerful. Let's go to, since we're sticking on the destroying the, BS dialect of the loony left.
Black people ever forget one thing. The man that helped Jesus carry that cross was a black man. And don't ever forget another thing. Jesus belongs to Africa as much as he does to Europe and Asia. He was born in that part of the world that touches Africa and Asia and Europe. And Jesus was not a white man like me, nor was he as black as some of you. We don't know what the color of his skin, but it must have been a dark color like the people of his day, because he was a man like them. Don't ever say it's a white man's religion or a black man's religion. It's a world religion. He belongs to the world.
Subscribe or follow for more content.
So that is Ariel Harrison, just so you know, because I like to give people props. And while we're on this, well, let's just stick with God and Christianity. This one is pretty epic. This is Cap Chatfield.
I feel like this is an Esther moment for the church. We were born for such a time as this. When Mordecai speaks to Esther, he says, do not think that you will escape that which is coming unless you give voice in support of your Jewish brothers and sisters. God gave land to Abraham in Genesis 12. We serve a covenant-keeping God who is not slack concerning his promises. And every time that God made covenant with one of the patriarchs, it came with a covenant of land. And so because we serve the God who is faithful, same yesterday, today, and forever, that God is keeping his promise and will keep his promise. And I think it's never been more important for the church to understand the significance of the moment that we are in. When the church loses her voice, the world loses its mind. And if we are silent in this hour, do not think that which is attacking our Jewish brothers and sisters thousands of miles away will not also come for us.
Psalm 122.
Do not think that a church that loses its voice, the world loses its mind. Mind-blowing moral relativism, secular humanism. Welcome to our world.
Who says, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May they prosper who love you. Do you agree? Type amen in the comments. Click follow or subscribe for more.
Another great one. Another great one. So, where are we going to go next? Trump. We're going to do Trump. Tim Scott. Let's blast some pronouns.
Hey, she has a point. Listen to this.
So if I was like hiring
and this is Black Conservative 24. I know those Black conservatives, aren't they just annoying?
Hey, she has a point. Listen to this.
So if I was like hiring and I saw pronouns, here's what I'm going to assume. I'm going to assume you're obviously very liberal. So I'm going to assume you're one of those people that is super far left.
Yep.
Hey, I'm going to assume you're not a very hard worker. You are either a female or you're a probably not straight guy.
Fact.
So everything in the office is going to have to cater to you, your feelings, your needs, and your emotions. So everyone around you is not going to be able to be themselves and walk on eggshells. Why would anyone want someone like you unless everyone's like you in a work environment? You're going to be the laziest person. You're going to be the most entitled, complain the most, and I think you're going to be the first to sue. So shocker that pronouns weren't helping you guys. Sorry, is there anything I missed there?
What do you think?
Truth. I mean, I can't think of anything like if I was still running restaurants and I had somebody come in and apply. And it's not about a transgender thing. It's people who want their pronouns constantly. That I know as a general manager that everybody's going to walk around just like in schools with their buttholes puckered. They're going to be afraid of what they say. Nobody's going to be themselves. Nobody's going to be on the top of their game. Everybody's going to be concerned about what you think. The world is going to revolve around you. And I would not hire you. It's a right to work state. Sorry, I would not hire you. Not because of I'm racist, transphobic, or whatever. It's that by me having to continue to acknowledge your Z, Zer, Zim, them, whim, ding. Okay, not only does it violate First Amendment, but is the fact that I know the work environment that it's going to create is that you're going to demand so much of my attention that I'm no longer going to be able to manage my restaurant. I'm going to have to be managing you and your feelings all the time. Point. Love that girl. Bingo. Let's see. Got time for. Let's see. I know people say that like Trump was a homophobe. I don't know.
Media calls Trump a homophobe.
I think that
This was his.
Biden was pretty racist, right? I mean, I'm not even going to say the things that he said. So let's talk about, is Trump a homophobe?
Media calls Trump a homophobe, but this was his opinion on gay people even before he ran for president.
Are you a homosexual, Cliff?
I am. Yes, Mr. Trump, I am.
No, is that true?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you don't find Oliver very attractive then?
No. I mean,
and you don't find Felicia very attractive?
They're beautiful women, but they're not my thing.
All right. That's why they have menus in restaurants, you know? I like steak. Somebody else likes spaghetti. That's why they have menus in restaurants. It's a great world.
Meanwhile,
Do you support gay marriage?
No, Barack Obama nor I support redefining from a civil side what constitutes marriage. We do not support that.
Okay. I didn't realize that was in there. So, It's kind of like that letter. I don't remember if you remember me showing that last week. Let me see if I still have it pulled up. I might. Yeah. Oh, it's right here. I'll just show it. Just, a couple people asked me. I showed it last week. This would be from Senator Joe Biden. I showed it last week, August 7th, 1994. Dear Mr. Gregg, thank you for your postcard on healthcare reform and abortion services. You say in your postcard that most Americans don't want to pay for abortion services and ask, please don't force me to pay for abortion services against my conscience. I agree with you. Okay. And then he goes on here, and the present debate over healthcare reform raises for the first time the question of whether the federal government should decide for everyone that they must buy insurance that includes abortion services, or whether individuals should have the option not to. Just as the federal government should not be in the business of telling people that they can no longer use their money to purchase such services, the government should not tell those with strong convictions against abortion, such as you and I, that we must pay for them. Sincerely, Joseph R. Biden, United States Senator, April 7th, 1994. Okay, just to be clear. So we follow up with who's a racist? Joe Biden. Who's a homophobe? Who doesn't want gay marriage? Obama, Joe Biden. Inconvenient truth? Yeah, needs to be said. Whatever, moving on. So that's what I'm doing. I'm always like so serious about like education and stuff that this is just gives me my chance to be like it or not, don't care. Click it. Swipe left, move on, but we're going to say what needs to be said. Let's see what is left on y'all. Oh, let's get some Candace in here. We can't ever do a segment without some Candace.
The left has a unique ability to be racist and not get called out for it.
Does it bother you that there's no prominent African Americans in the White House itself?
We have to stop believing in the solution that because somebody is black, they represent my interests. We learned that lesson via Barack Obama, who was in the White House for 8 years and didn't do much for the black community. So I'm not interested in the color of people's skin. So I'm interested in what they do and what they accomplish.
I'm really interested in your perspective here. Yeah. It is an administration that has more white men.
I think that we have to stop believing that diversity is the color of people's skin, because that's an illusion that the left has sold, that somehow because somebody matches my skin color, because somebody matches my gender, they have my best interests at heart, and that is completely fallacious.
Completely fallacious. I'm going to start using that.
Yields back. Judge, why wasn't it
not fellatio, fallacious. Oh my God. That reminds me of last week's when he said my favorite two things are the First Amendment and boobs. Which was highly, if you didn't watch the one 2 weeks ago, saying things that must be said, it was really funny about First Amendment and boobs. BWBS. Let's, on that note, with who cares about whom, let's wrap up with our good friend here. This again is the conservative take. And this is about BLM. BLM. Let's bring BLM on.
He's got a point. You shouldn't have an ounce of respect for anybody claiming Black Lives Matter at this point when they don't give a flying flip about black police officers. They don't care about black conservatives. They care nothing about black people in the hood. Nope. They don't even raise money for people in the hood. Nope. They don't care about black men who are out here doing the right thing, that need a hand up, nope, that need help out. How many businesses have they gave these billions of dollars to? How many black businesses have they sustained during the shutdown? None. How much money went to George Floyd's family that they raised after his death? None. How many went to any of these people? They have done nothing but sit around and bash people as a racist, domestic, terrorist organization. That's how I look at them. If you don't want people to not like you, get your stuff together and start supporting people in this country, or shut your freaking mouth.
I think that about covers it.
Boy! Yes, it did. And which I'm going to, because I'm not going to make this a long episode tonight, but which brings me to my point today, which the Democratic Party in this frame is going to drive me bonkers today, which they did not like. They kept calling schools and resource officers the school to prison pipeline. The school to prison pipeline is resource officers. It's not the fact that children haven't had discipline, which we went over the other night with the whole Todd Pillion criminalizing parents for the chaotic, toxic environment that they've created in schools, which makes children not want to go, but now they want to criminalize parents. Okay, it's the same thing, is that the school to prison pipeline, okay, is not having discipline, which they've not had in Virginia for, I don't know, like 12 years. But they really didn't like it today when I pointed out, if we're talking about the school to prison pipeline, then what you should be talking about is Virginia is still 50th in the nation, the only state below basic. So when you say that resource officers are racist and are the school to prison pipeline, you should actually be talking about the fact that fourth grade literacy, which we are 50th, the only state below basic, is how they forecast prison matriculation. And so if you actually cared, and this is what I told the ACLU and the NAACP, all of the Board of Education last year, if you actually spoke for the historically marginalized and the poverty, impoverished Black, Brown, Latino, because I refuse to say Latinx, children, you would be talking about the fact that they can't read, and prison matriculation, forecasting it, which means building prisons for the future, is done based on fourth grade literacy, which we are 50th in the nation. And at that point, I was cut off and told that my comments were non-germane. No, what's not germane is your BS blaming school resource officers for being racist and calling that the school to prison pipeline. The school to prison pipeline is a multifaceted thing. It is restorative justice. It is PBIS. It is no discipline, because discipline is racist. Okay. So when these children now 10 years later have had no discipline, no homework, no accountability, and they're acting like feral people, and they go out into the community and they've had no discipline. Now they're going to have no discipline, follow no laws, because they were taught that in school because it was racist. And the cops are going to pull them over and they're going to be like, well, I was never held accountable. And sir, officer, you're being racist. And that's the school to prison pipeline, in addition to fourth grade literacy. So when we want to look at bringing Black fathers home, because as a white woman, I am not racist because I speak about what Black families need, okay? Because at this point in time, the left does not know or care what Black families need, Black children need. They are only concentrated on their own personal interest, which is social justice, okay? Which is no one succeeds until everyone succeeds, which is not possible, okay? Is not possible. Read Bastiat, the law, and is that you cannot have equal outcomes for all without sacrificing liberty and freedom. They do not go hand in hand. So you can have your equality for all, but you will sacrifice freedom and justice, freedom and liberty. You will be enslaved by socialism. So they're enslaving children based on their beliefs. The left does not speak for Black children. I will not say it any louder. You can share it with whoever you want. They do not speak for LGBTQ plus IA children, because today I expressed concern regarding threat assessment software, because I have called Elizabeth Warren's office and spoken with her regarding threat assessment software like Gaggle, Bark, Securely, Go Guardian. Okay. They target LGBTQ and Black children, and our liberals on the left do not even care about that. So when we come down to who cares about whom, and if you're not analyzing why the family, which is Rhett Riddle, BEA, the VSBA, the School Boards Association, the family, as they call themselves, if that's not Charles Manson frightening enough, they don't care about the children they say they care about. Let's just be real clear about that. Okay. They're all bought and paid for to fulfill their communist socialist interests. Thank you for the Frankfurt School. And they're not helping any children. So the school to prison pipeline is not resource officers. And by the way, can you pass along the message that Carrie Coyner needs to be evicted from the GOP because that lunatic voted? She hates parents. Let's just be real, okay? She's a liberal. She's not even a rhino. She's a liberal. And I almost vomited 18 times. Let's see. Do you know anything regarding CPS? Could need help? Try to reach out to you. Yes, I don't know who that is because it says Facebook user. I do know something about CPS cases. I don't know how you try to reach out with me. If it was Facebook Messenger and we're not friends, it won't pop up, but I will go through and I will check it out for you. I will go in and I have to check a different file, but you can also friend me in that way. But anyway, I don't know who that is, but I will check my Facebook messages if that's how you try to get in touch with me. But lots of laws, legislation still coming up, okay? If you don't know where to go or how to look it up, you can just type in, like, it's like Granicus Senate or House, like, Google. People are like, well, how do I find it? Google. Virginia House of Delegates 2024. The whole agenda will come up, what day, what time, how to sign up, because House, you can speak via Zoom, or you can go down there early as AF in the morning. Senate, you have to go in person. So Thursday, in the big, tall new building on the 3rd floor, I'm going to say it again, 30 minutes after they convene, which is usually 12:30, 1 o'clock, depending on when they convene. But there is no excuse not to speak via Zoom on the House. Do not take the opinion that, oh, well, we lost, there's no point. Well, then you have resigned yourself to what Barack Obama said and Lenin in his plot to take over the world, is you are a disenfranchised voter. You are no longer exercising your we the people. And when freedom goes, because you're giving it away and your children and your grandchildren don't have it, don't forget that you did not exercise your right to have your voice under we the people. Okay? Because today it was via Zoom and it was me and one mother. Besides Title IX, now granted, they mounted up for Title IX, okay, in Sage's law, which, by the way, how corrupt is it that they combined those two and gave everybody 1 minute to speak on those two bills? It was kind of reminiscent of the JCAR hearing with Equality Virginia and the NAA and the ACLU, you know, when Youngkin changed his dignity policy into the unconstitutional policy. It's kind of reminiscent of that. They just play by their own rules. But House, no excuses. None. Look it up. You can sign up until an hour beforehand. They meet all day, different committees. I go in and I look at each committee, what bills I know stuff about. I don't do a lot of research. What do you care about? What can you speak about? You have like 30 seconds or a minute. You don't have to put together a presentation. I am not for this. Like, people are like, well, I mean, if you don't want your face to be seen as I can't help you with that. But is that sitting here for the next 2 years, twiddling your thumbs, being like, well, I hope it just doesn't get any worse. Well, you know what? The governor is not going to give a F to veto anything if people don't show up to care. The man is not going to stick his neck out. As Scott Serval said, the most moderate governor ever is not going to stick his neck out, even though he ran on the back of Parents Matter. If people don't show up that they care, if he doesn't fuel the fire, he's not going to veto anything. It doesn't matter if it's constitutional or not. It doesn't matter how Looney Tune it is. That is the facts. So if you can show up, if you're within an hour of driving, how many people have I driven across the state for? Just think about it. Did I charge you gas? No. Did I charge anything? No. You called, I came. So if you can't find it in you to come speak at the Senate in person, can't help you. We're not cut from the same moral fiber. And I hate to end it on that level, but it is the truth, is that I've never asked for a single dime in return from anyone. So if you can't sign on to Zoom to care to the House or get in the car to drive to the Senate, It's right at the 6495 interchange. So if you're coming from like the beach, it can be like an hour. If you're coming from like Spotsylvania or Stafford, it can be like an hour. I mean, if you're coming from like Petersburg, Colonial Heights, it can be like an hour. It's like 25 different divisions can get to it, just like the Board of Education, in like an hour. It's right there. What's important to you is the question. And then I can challenge you to go look at other states as they like protest outside with signs, and then look at Virginia like, what the hell is wrong with us? Is what I keep asking. How bad does it have to get? You don't have parental rights. The governor still hasn't returned them. Okay. We still have co-ed bathrooms. We have a governor who believes the Virginia Code overrides the constitutional God-given natural rights of parents. We have a state superintendent who calls Virginia Code, not even Virginia Code, but a policy written by the Board of Education and a law given to the Board of Education, non-elected, the law of the land. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what else to do, but I will keep on keeping on. And we will continue to do these, and we will have another legislative update tomorrow. But I encourage you to look up Virginia House of Delegates 2024, see what's on the agenda, and also look up Senate for Thursday, because public education, me and Van Valkenburg are going to have another date. He lets me. And I look forward to seeing American Prosperity, Ty Turner, my favorite person. I just don't know. I don't know who else I'm going to run into. But when I roll, is it children, truth, America, all that matters. My family, truth, children, safety, innocence, America. Boop. That's my agenda. So, giddy up. This is your daily dose of things that need to be said.